The following video dates back to 2016, when a lady was 9 years old, spending time at home with her cousin, doing what most kids do, playing around, recording random moments, and not thinking too much about what might be happening in the background. Years later, after strange things in the house began to resurface, unexplained sounds, subtle movements, and that persistent feeling that something wasn't quite right, she decided to go back and review old footage, hoping they might have missed something back then. And that's when she found this. Watch closely.
Dude, what the heck, man? Who are you? Hello? What was that? Did you guys see that? Vines. Come on. Come here. Hello from the other side. Walking really funny. At least I got that on camera. Bye.
First, an unusual light appears. It's brief, easy to miss, but clearly there. And then, something else. A figure. When she reviewed the clip again as an adult, she said the shape looked like a baby figure. Small, low to the ground, and oddly formed. But once the video was shared, people had very different interpretations. Some were convinced it didn't look like a child at all. They believed it looked like a demonic figure. Others made a different comparison entirely, saying it resembled Pennywise. For context, Pennywise is a fictional entity from It by Stephen King, often portrayed as a shape-shifting being that commonly appears as a clown to lure children, but is actually something far more sinister beneath the surface. It's known for taking forms that feel familiar, yet deeply unsettling. And that comparison only made the clip more disturbing for viewers, because if something in that video really did resemble a child, then it becomes harder to explain. In this next video, a bus driver who had been working late shifts for years shares something that completely changed the way he viewed those quiet, empty routes at night, especially because he was used to long hours, isolated roads, and the kind of silence that most people would already find unsettling, yet had never experienced anything he couldn't logically explain until this particular night. After completing his final stop, he did what he always does, checking through his rearview mirror carefully to make sure every passenger had gotten off, scanning each row from front to back until he was certain the bus was completely empty. And once he confirmed there was no one left, he began the drive back to the station, already thinking about heading home to his family after a long day. For a while, everything felt normal. The road quiet, the bus steady, nothing out of place. And then, this happened. Watch. While he is driving, with absolutely no passengers on board, a voice suddenly echoes from inside the bus, loud enough to be clearly heard, saying, "I'm getting off here." But when he checks again, there is no one there. Some believe this could be a case where a past moment somehow imprints itself onto a place and replays under certain conditions, especially in environments like buses that carry countless people and experiences over time. But until more clips are shared, this one remains unsolved. Now, this next video was recorded by David, a name some of you might already recognize, especially if you've been following the channel for a while. For those who don't know, David once brought home a doll, something that seemed harmless at first, maybe even interesting because of its age and appearance, but not long after, he realized it was the biggest mistake of his life. His nights became restless, filled with strange figures appearing in his room, fleeting shapes that never stayed long enough to fully understand, and a voice that would wail in the dark, sometimes calling out different names, none of which he recognized. It got so intense that he eventually locked the doll inside a cage, placing a Bible and rosary on top of it, hoping it would contain whatever was attached to it. But even that didn't stop it. One night, after falling asleep, he had a nightmare so vivid it forced him awake. And when he opened his eyes, he saw this. Watch.
Tenía una pesadilla y despierto. ¿Por qué me estás jodiendo a cada rato? ¿Qué quieres? No entiendo qué es lo que... Ese, el quemado. Ese. Y no sé si escucharon lo que... No entendí muy bien. Pero... algo se escuchó. ¡Ah! Ahora sí sentí mucha adrenalina. Se desenfoca. No sé qué gana. Estoy escuchando música aquí de relajamiento. O sea, estaba durmiendo. Ya son las, ¿qué? 4:51 de la mañana. No entiendo. No entiendo. En serio, ya no sé qué hacer. Alexa, luz del cuarto blanco frío. Joder.
According to David, this isn't something he's seen once. He claims that same face appears to him almost every night, but the moment he switches on the light, it's gone. No movement toward the door, no sound of footsteps, and no space under the bed large enough for anything to hide. Now, did the doll bring something into his life? Or did it simply reveal something that was already waiting? You decide. The following video was recorded by a CCTV camera inside a man's home, capturing something that only came to his attention after he'd already left the house for the evening. He had stepped out briefly with his nephew, who was visiting for the holidays, and everything seemed completely normal at the time. The house locked, quiet, and empty, just the way he left it. But on their way back, he received a notification from his security system, the kind that usually signals movement or unexpected activity inside the house. At first, he assumed it was nothing serious, maybe a minor glitch or something small triggering the sensor, but when he opened the footage to check, he saw this.
D. Front. Door. Center. Center is open. Disarm now. Disarm now.
After he shared the video, a lot of people were quick to dismiss it, suggesting that someone must have been inside the house, that the whole thing was staged, or that it was simply a person checking the room before entering. But that explanation raises its own questions, because if it were a person, why do the eyes reflect like that? I'll let you be the judge on this. In this next clip, a man shares an experience that began in the most ordinary way. Something as simple as going downstairs in the middle of the night to get a glass of water, a routine that should have taken only a few minutes, quiet, uneventful, and easily forgotten by morning. But as he made his way through the house, he started hearing something unusual. A voice, faint at first, almost blending into the silence, but clear enough that he knew it wasn't just his imagination. It didn't sound like a television or a phone left playing somewhere, and it definitely didn't sound like something coming from outside. It sounded inside the house. Curious, but uneasy. He He decided to trace where it was coming from, slowly moving toward the direction of the sound, trying to make sense of it. And then he saw a strange figure. Startled, he immediately ran back upstairs, his first instinct not just to get away, but to record it, especially because he had already brought in someone to bless the house before moving in, sensing from the beginning that something about the place didn't feel right. Watch closely.
Entonces pues sí me despertaron y me dio sed. Entonces bajé por un vaso de agua y me regresé corriendo. Quiero que vean esto. A ver si todavía está ahí. Es que siempre que les quiero mostrar algo, parece que desaparece para hacerme quedar mal. No, sí, sigue ahí. No sé si se esté viendo. Hay algo ahí parado. Y está altísimo. No sé qué es. Perdón con la luz, es que mi perro se está atravesando. Y si lo suelto, va y le ladra y me da miedo que vaya a pasar algo. Ay Dios, ahí se ve mejor, pero se ve más feo. Ya, deja de moverte. Perdónenme. ¿Hola? ¿Hola?
Some believe it could be tied to the house itself, something that was already there long before he moved in, and that the blessing may not have fully removed whatever presence remains. There's also the idea that shadows like this are not just random appearances, but deliberate observations, something watching, learning the layout, understanding the person living there. Until more updates are shared, this one remains unsolved. Now, this next clip was recorded by a family's security system, something they originally installed both inside and outside the house for a very practical reason. They foster dogs, and with multiple animals moving in and out over time, they needed a reliable way to monitor activity, keep track of movement, and make sure everything stayed under control, even when they weren't actively watching. For a long time, the cameras only ever captured what they expected. Dogs wandering around, the usual sounds of a busy home, nothing out of the ordinary. But over the past month, something else started appearing, something that doesn't move like a dog and doesn't resemble any adult living in the house either. Have a look.
Alright, so break it down again. Where is it? There's the arm.
Arm, leg. There's gonna be another leg walking here.
You see it go over the snow.
Arm, leg, then another leg.
So if that's a leg, what's that? Is that the baby with somebody?
At the moment, they don't believe it's anything dangerous. In their view, with the number of dogs constantly in the house, any real threat, especially something physical, would have triggered a reaction. Dogs are known for their sensitivity to unfamiliar presence, and if something was truly there, they assume the animals would have barked, reacted, or shown signs of distress. But that assumption is exactly what unsettles some viewers. Some theories suggest that certain entities don't register as physical threats, meaning they can exist within a space without triggering the usual instincts in animals. Others believe that if something is subtle enough, it can move through an environment without drawing attention. And then there's a more unsettling possibility that whatever the camera is picking up is already familiar with the space. Familiar enough not to disturb the dogs, and familiar enough to move without being challenged. What do you think about this? Or are there some other reasons we're not seeing? The following video was captured by a CCTV camera at Ronald's workplace, a location that, according to several employees, had already been the subject of quiet conversations long before this footage ever surfaced, with workers occasionally mentioning glimpses of black shapes passing through hallways, reflections that didn't match anyone present, and that lingering feeling of being watched even in areas covered by cameras. But it wasn't until this clip went viral that those concerns became impossible to ignore, with many employees reportedly pressuring management to take action, convinced that whatever had been dismissed as imagination was now clearly visible on camera. Watch closely.
Laki nga yun, bukas na. Sasara niya ng biglayan kasi nga ganun ba? Ang talaga yung mga sakit na yan. Maganda yung sa... Ano kami yun? Ayun na. Oh, kita mo ako paano sa Mario Pinto? Ay, hindi. Ang pakayumaga. Ay, pakpal niya na. Ang lakas nun sa kanya, no?
Dark shapes move through the space, and some viewers believe it's actually one shadow, moving so quickly and unpredictably that it creates the illusion of multiple figures. Others are convinced it's something far more unsettling, that these are multiple shadows, different entities moving within the same space, overlapping, crossing paths, each one existing independently. You be the judge. The following clip was recorded by Sarah, a woman who spends her time traveling from place to place, exploring abandoned and reportedly haunted buildings. She doesn't just walk in for thrills, she researches the history, digs into old records, and documents everything carefully. According to Sarah, her goal has always been simple: to find out whether ghosts are actually real. For a long time, she believed they weren't. Even though she's captured strange things during past investigations, she's always managed to explain them away. Drafts, old structures, animals, faulty equipment. Every time something unsettling happened, logic won. Until now. Weeks after her most recent investigation, things started happening in her own home. Growling sounds that don't belong to any animal she owns, loud bangs that echo through the house with no clear source, and then the footsteps. Heavy, deliberate sounds coming from her loft, like someone pacing back and forth. Almost every night around 1 a.m., Sarah wakes up suddenly, not from an alarm or from a dream, but from the same unmistakable sound. Watch.
I think someone's in the loft. I don't know if you're going to hear this on camera. It is currently 1:21 a.m. This has been going off for a while. This has woke me up. I really hope you can hear this. I really hope you can hear this. I've had to put a little torch on because it's absolutely pitch black. Please tell me that you can hear this. I've come out, but am I fuck going up there? Absolutely not. There's like a hatch. And nah. What the?
Those are human footsteps and definitely not a rat or any small animal. But it's not just the loft. Take a look.
I've also had presents over Christmas. The same pile of presents, ironically, keep flinging themselves over. And then in my office, I've got like greenery here. These keep moving as if someone's playing with them. The presents I actually had piled up here and they flung over. I will insert a video right now. I don't know if I can catch this on camera, but these have like been making a noise. As if they're, oh my Jesus Christ. By the way, that actually happened twice in this office, so I made a point of moving the presents from the office into the bedroom. It happened again in the bedroom, so the next night what I did was I unstacked the presents, laid them all down in a row in the bedroom, and I woke up in the middle of the night to what sounded like somebody opening the presents. I could physically hear somebody playing with the wrapping paper. I've also been waking up in the middle of the night to noises and also growls, like a full-blown growl. And I was sending a voice note to somebody and they heard the growl on the voice note. I also have a second phone, so I'm going to leave this lying around different places, recording different areas. And I spend a lot of time in this room working, so my plan is to set up that second phone and have it continuously recording. So if something does happen or the greenery starts to move behind me or something falls off a shelf, I'm going to catch it. The question is, do you guys want me to start vlogging this daily? I'm actually quite happy just recording for my own personal sake, but if you guys want to see it, I am also very happy to vlog it and post it.
At this point, Sarah decides to stop dismissing what's happening and starts recording everything, documenting each incident as carefully as she once documented abandoned buildings. And that raises an uncomfortable possibility, one many paranormal investigators fear but rarely talk about. Sometimes it isn't about finding proof of ghosts, sometimes something finds you. Until Sarah shares more updates, what exactly is happening inside her house remains unsolved. But the idea that something may have followed her home from her last investigation is becoming harder and harder to ignore. Now, this next clip was recorded in one of the houses we've featured on this channel before. In the video, a father is playing with his young daughter inside their home when the blinds suddenly move, as if someone outside is trying to peek in. At first glance, some assumed it could be a prank or someone nearby, but the father later explained something that completely changed the situation. The blinds were touched from a height that would require someone to be at least 9 feet tall. Also, there's no balcony, no platform, no stairs, and nothing outside the house that would allow a person to reach that high. Concerned, the family didn't ignore it. The father asked his grandmother to come over and bless the room, hoping whatever it was would stop. But instead of ending, the activity moved inside the house. They began hearing unexplained bangs, objects would shift, and most alarming, their daughter started refusing to enter certain areas of the house, insisting she didn't feel safe there. Then, just after Christmas, while the mother was cleaning and putting things back in place, it happened again. Look closely at the windows. The window opens, slowly, the same way the blinds moved before, like something on the other side is trying to look in. And knowing the layout of the house, no one could reasonably say a person was outside. Now, concerns have turned into fear, because whatever this is doesn't seem affected by blessings either. The family is now searching for alternatives, unsure of what steps to take next, and worried about how much worse things could get. So, what do you think they should do? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. In the following video, a guy shares what's been happening inside his house, and it all starts off in a way that feels almost harmless. On the very first day, he hears knocking coming from one of the walls and brushes it off as the house settling, maybe pipes shifting or the temperature changing. Nothing alarming enough to worry about. The second day, the sounds return, but this time it's scratching. Again, he tries to rationalize it, telling himself it could be mice in the walls or something crawling through the insulation. Still unsettling, but explainable, at least to him. But by the third day, whatever was happening stopped pretending to be subtle. Watch this.
Llegó la tercera noche que no sé si escuchan ese ruido, pero estoy solo, ¿me entiendes? Estoy solo en la pieza y estoy solo en mi casa. O sea, no, boludo. No, amigo, no. No, boludo, se acaba de mover. ¿Qué? No, miren, para que vean que abajo no hay nadie, boludo. Posta. O sea, no estoy jodiendo ni nada. O sea, te juro que no hay nadie. Estoy yo solo acá.
People in the comments start pointing out something strange in the room. The empty chair. Many believe that placing an empty chair in a room can unintentionally act like an invitation, especially when it's positioned as if someone could sit there. And facing it toward a mirror only deepens the concern. In paranormal lore, mirrors are often believed to be gateways or amplifiers, reflecting more than just what we can see. Others mention how activity often escalates like this. Subtle signs first, then louder, more deliberate disturbances once whatever is present realizes it's being ignored. And what happens next seems to support that theory. Take a look.
No sé qué pasa, boludo. Estoy en mi pieza queriendo dormir, boludo, y me tocan la puerta toda la noche, amigo. Son como las 1 de la mañana. No hay nada. No, amigo, ¿qué mierda es eso, boludo? ¿Qué mierda sos, la concha de tu madre? Boludo, no. Amigo, no hay nadie, boludo. No. De hoy se está escuchando esa mierda. ¿Qué? No, boludo, no. No. Encima abro acá la ventana, boludo. No hay nadie, amigo. O sea, no hay chance que haya salido alguien por acá, boludo. No, amigo, no. No, amigo, de nuevo esto. Pero qué mierda, boludo. No va a enloquecer, boludo.
At this point, the knocking and scratching feel intentional, almost responsive. Now that it's reached this stage, many are asking the same question. What can actually be done when something no longer feels passive? And do you think he ignored the early signs for too long, or was this inevitable from the moment it started knocking? I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. In this next video, a man is lying in bed, relaxed and scrolling on his phone, when he suddenly hears something shift nearby. At first, he assumes it's a rat or maybe something falling over, so he instinctively turns on his camera, expecting to catch an animal darting across the floor. But that's not what happens. Watch closely.
Loco, estaba durmiendo, me acaba de levantar, loco, estoy cagado de las patas. Fuera de joda me puse una alabanza, amigo. Estaba durmiendo y de ahí arriba... Mirá, boludo. No lo puedo creer. Necesito, boludo.
The object doesn't just slide or tip over, it moves in a controlled way. Another thing is, from the angle and the motion, you'd expect the bag to fall completely, but it doesn't. It's almost as if something stops it mid-movement, like an unseen hand holding it in place. That moment alone was enough to unsettle him. After posting the clip, the man explains that this wasn't an isolated incident. Watch this.
Loco, mirá, 2:35 de la mañana, amigo. De vuelta a este puto ropero, este pibe se me durmió, la concha, la lora. No puedo creer, loco, no puedo, te juro que no puedo dormir, mirá, loco, mirá. No te digo yo, no sea malo, loco.
For days leading up to this, strange things had been happening around his home. His door has unlocked itself multiple times, the handle slowly turning as if someone on the other side was trying to come in. He's seen shadows that don't form full bodies, just faces lingering for a split second before disappearing. and at night, the sounds make it impossible for him to sleep, like something is always moving just out of view. Some believe this could be a case of something feeding off fear, gradually escalating its presence once it knows it's being noticed. Others suggest it may be a lingering presence tied to the house itself, only becoming active at night when everything is quiet. Whether it's psychological, environmental, or something far more disturbing, one thing is clear: whatever caused this isn't stopping, and until more updates are given, this remains a mystery. Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his solo investigation at the infamous Squirrel Cage Jail, officially known as the Pottawatomie County Jail in Iowa. This isn't just any abandoned jail. Built back in 1885, the structure is infamous for its rotating cage design, a mechanism that once trapped inmates inside when it jammed, leaving them locked in place for hours, sometimes days. Over the years, countless inmates suffered here, and many never left the building alive. This time, Ian heads into the old picnic area, a place inmates were once allowed brief moments of fresh air, moments that, for some, ended in tragedy. Setting up a spirit box session, Ian attempts to communicate, carefully asking questions into the silence, not fully knowing what kind of response he might provoke. Watch closely.
Whoa. That sounds like a man's voice coming through there. Could you speak again? Whoa. It's hard to make out what's being said, but I'm definitely hearing someone talking. How many spirits haunt this jail? Whoa. That sounded like you said 11. That is a lot of different spirits, if that's true. What did that say? That sounded like broken neck. Who am I speaking to? Joseph. Oh my God. It just said Joseph. No freaking way. He's the one that fell. He fell from the 3rd floor of the squirrel cage. Joseph, is that you? What were you thinking climbing that cell? Whoa! What was that? The sound came from up there. Hello? Inmate, if that's you, reach out of your cell. Oh, God. Holy crap.
What comes through immediately sends chills down his spine. Ian becomes convinced the voice responding belongs to Joseph, the inmate who reportedly fell from the 3rd floor of the squirrel cage, dying instantly on impact. What makes this even more unsettling is that the exact location where Joseph fell is completely sealed off now, inaccessible and untouched. There's no way for Ian to physically investigate the area, yet whatever answered him seems to know exactly who he is and where he's standing. Instead of leaving, Ian stays put, deciding to push further and confirm his theory. He asks direct questions, listening carefully for patterns, names, or confirmation.
Why don't you make some more noise? Oh, that came from in here. Hello? That came from in this cell. I'm hearing noises everywhere. Was it you? Of course it wasn't. There's nobody in here. This jail is really starting to amp up right now.
The responses only deepen the mystery. Whether it's Joseph reaching out, residual energy replaying a tragic moment, or something far darker using the story as a mask, Ian is no longer alone in that space, and the longer he stays, the more it feels like the jail is becoming aware of him being there. Places like the Squirrel Cage Jail aren't just abandoned buildings. They're pressure chambers of human suffering, fear, and loss. And when someone listens long enough, sometimes something listens back. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video was captured inside a hospital by Dave, a man who claims he's been gifted with sight since he was young. According to him, he doesn't just sense things, he sees and hears them. And he says spirits tend to follow him, especially in places where emotions are intense, like hospitals, cemeteries, abandoned buildings, places where life and death have crossed paths. While Dav was receiving treatment, he suddenly felt like he wasn't alone in the room. Watch.
There's like something in this room that is like moving, like the chairs. Move this shit right here. Oh, my bad. That shit hurt. But anyways, if there's a spirit in here, just let me know. You know. And sometimes things this is Kaiser. Oh, but I felt like a really heavy presence in this room right when I walked in, but I just thought I see something sitting right there. I'm sorry, my phone. That's not good. There's a lot of things happening here. Again, that door slowly opened and closed right now. If there's anything in here, just give me a sign. I'm here in peace. Okay, you can say anything. Just don't mess with my heart monitor or anything. That started to move, but it could be people out there. I just came in here. Something you can hear, TV or something. Move anything you want. Let the people know that you're here. Speak into this thing. Show me your hair, presents. You could, I got a gift, and I'm not afraid. So if you decide to move anything, open that door again, I won't be frightened. What the hell? Oh. Whoa, shh. Excuse me, nurse. Oh, that's some activity. Excuse me. This thing fell. Right here. Yeah, I don't know. I maybe it just fell.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I was just sleeping. And
Well, that scared you, huh?
yeah, it scared the shit.
I was worried. I thought you fell.
Oh, no.
It wasn't you. Alright.
Okay, people, that was a scary situation. I know I didn't jerk, but yeah, it's ghost activity. Oh my god. Oh, crap. Well, I got the gift, but I'm not gonna abuse it. I just asked for, little signs here and there. They showed them to me. Nothing to be alarmed about, people. Didn't feel it was evil at all. But, whoa, I know you guys heard that over there. Woo! Anyways, God bless you guys. I'm not gonna entertain them anymore because I don't need my heart to go racing. God bless you guys. But anyways, I was going to cut this video short a bit. Right when I was going to cut it short, something else happened. But I'm waiting for it to happen again. So this right here, mind you, this is the only sliding door that's open. But this right here pulled all the way back this way. So what happened last time was I was asking it for a sign, and it pushed over this metal thing right here. I had to tell the nurse I was sleeping because I didn't want her to think I did the shit, or I just told her I don't know. I didn't know what to, make up, but this shit is, it's crazy, And all I asked is for a sign, and they gave them to me. But the thing is, I'm like used to it when there are signs, But in hospitals, there's a lot of activity, and I already know, I'm gonna find something, that would give me a sign or whatever. Oh, just like that. That was up there under my sweater or some shit. Okay. I know you're not welcome here, so you can go back to wherever you come from. Because I'm not taking a nap. And this arm right here you can't do nothing with it. It hurts. So I gotta lay on my side right here. Hey people, God bless you, blessings, and man, pray for me.
If you listen closely, after he says, "I'm here for peace," a faint whisper can be heard saying, "Help," and then what sounds like "knife." That detail is what unsettled viewers the most. Some speculate it could be the spirit of someone who passed away in that very room, possibly someone connected to surgery or a traumatic procedure. Hospitals are places of healing, but they're also places of loss, fear, and unfinished stories. In paranormal theory, strong emotional events can leave behind residual energy, like a recording that replays under the right conditions. Others believe this could be an intelligent haunting, meaning whatever is there is aware and responding directly to Dave, especially since the whisper appears right after he speaks. During his stay, Dave also mentioned feeling a heavy presence near the chair in the room. He said the energy felt concentrated there, like someone was sitting and watching him, but when he looked, no one was there. Of course, skeptics argue hospitals are full of ambient noise, machines humming, distant voices, equipment moving, and audio pareidolia can make random sounds seem like words. According to them, when you expect to hear something, your brain can fill in the blanks. So was it simply hospital acoustics playing tricks on the ears? Or did someone or something in that room hear him when he said he came in peace and answered back? You decide. In this next video, Andrea is walking her dog late at night when something in the distance makes her stop. At first, she thinks it's just her eyes adjusting to the dark, but then she notices shapes that don't look quite right. So she pulls out her phone and starts recording. Have a look. In the distance, 3 shadow figures appear to be standing completely still. Some believe they could simply be people standing under poor lighting, their features swallowed by the darkness. At night, depth perception becomes unreliable. Streetlights can distort proportions, and shadows can merge together, making ordinary figures look unnaturally tall or solid black. But others argue something feels off. In paranormal discussions, shadow figures are often described exactly this way: human-shaped, lacking detail, and usually seen in peripheral vision. They're said to be watchers, observers, and in some reports, they appear in groups of 2 or 3. The fact that there are 3 of them standing together raises even more concern for believers. Some theories suggest that multiple figures appearing at once could indicate something more intelligent or coordinated, not residual energy, but active presence. As for danger, most accounts claim shadow entities don't always attack, but they can induce fear, paralysis, or a feeling of being targeted, and fear is something certain entities feed off. Whatever they were, one thing is clear: they weren't moving, and they were aware enough to stand there while being filmed. Until clearer footage surfaces, what Andre saw that night remains a mystery. Now in this next video, a team of paranormal investigators visit an abandoned house that locals have refused to go near for years. The place has been empty for decades, and as many paranormal researchers will tell you, abandoned buildings have a way of holding onto energy. When houses are left to decay, especially ones tied to unknown histories, tragedies, or sudden departures, believers say the energy inside can become stagnant, trapped. So the team sets up their equipment: EMF readers, cameras, and most importantly, trip wires. For those unfamiliar, trip wires are extremely sensitive devices designed to trigger if something physically passes through them. Not wind, not distant vibration, but something crossing the line. As they begin asking questions, trying to provoke a response, this happens.
And see what's popping. Nope, that's not a new tripwire. That's the same tripwire that we use at the breakfast date, that I've used in other places. Okay. That door just opened up by itself. I didn't even get that far. Dude.
You went up here or either.
This door just opened up by itself. Here we go. Away. Crazy, right? That was me. I bumped into the table here. If you heard something rattle, that was me. But that door opening up.
Quite clean.
The trip wires suddenly went nuts, and then, almost on cue, the door slowly opens by itself. Skeptics argue structural shifts could trigger the wires, but paranormal experts would say something else entirely. They believe abandoned spaces can act like containers, especially if something tragic happened there. If investigators actively try to communicate, they're essentially knocking on whatever door exists between worlds. And sometimes, something knocks back. Abandoned buildings already carry risk, unstable floors, toxic air, human squatters. But if something unseen is also moving through the halls, that's a different kind of danger. So was this structural coincidence, or did something in that house finally respond to being called out? You decide. The following video was recorded by a woman named Simone during what was supposed to be a normal evening walk. Watch closely. If you pause at the right moment, you'll notice a dark figure leaning against a tree before it suddenly darts away. At first, Simone brushed it off. Maybe it was a trick of the light, maybe someone was hiding. But what unsettled her wasn't just what she saw, it was what she felt after leaving the area. Even when she had completely walked past the tree line, she couldn't shake the sensation that someone was still behind her, matching her pace. On her way home, she passed a strange building she'd never paid attention to before. This time, she went in. As she steps inside the dark room, look toward the right side of the door near the end of the clip. Something shifts behind it. Simone later said that's when the idea first crossed her mind. What if whatever she saw near the tree wasn't random? What if it was watching her? A few evenings later, she passed the same building again, and this time she heard a voice that sounded exactly like her sister calling her name.
I don't know why the lights are on, but I'm going inside of this house. I just heard my sister's voice, and I'm sick of this. And I need to figure out what's going on so I can put a stop to it. Why is this chair in the middle of the floor?
Mimicking entities are considered particularly dangerous. They don't just appear, they imitate familiar voices to lure people closer. When Simone stepped inside, she noticed a chair positioned strangely in the middle of the room. Before she could even finish talking, she saw the figure again. After that encounter, she convinced herself the entity was attached to the abandoned house, not her. But that assumption didn't last long, because soon after, her own home stopped being quiet. Banging at night, footsteps when she's alone, whispers she can't trace, and an overwhelming sense of fear that comes without warning. One day, a friend visited after hearing everything, and this happened.
Hey guys, it's Simone again.
You kidding me?
Yeah. So I'm here with my friend Lexi, and I thought that this was over, but it's still happening. Something from this entity is still trying to get to me, so...
I thought you were kidding.
No.
Like, this is horrible.
I'm not kidding.
I don't know how you've been living like this. This is literally, like, I've checked this door 5 times. There's no way anyone is in the backyard.
So, still going on, and I just wanted to come back and report to you guys that it's still impacting my life every day.
I'm so sorry. This is insane.
Here's the unsettling theory. If the activity followed Simone home, then this may not be about a haunted location anymore. It could be attachment, a phenomenon where an entity fixates on a person rather than a place. And attachments, according to paranormal researchers, rarely fade on their own. It's hard to walk away from something like this without answers, but Simone isn't ready to stop investigating until she understands what's happening. Now, this strange video was posted on December 27th, 2025 by a veterinary hospital in Madison, Alabama. But what makes it even more unsettling is that the footage itself had reportedly been kept private for nearly 4 years. According to the clinic's owner, Renee, something happened that night that caused all employees on shift to stop what they were doing. Have a look.
Hey, did you yell? That's weird. Where is that coming from? It don't sound like it's coming from. Okay, so you still want to do banana bags, 15 mils an hour, head of starch, 4 mils an hour. It's coming from over this way. Alright. Medication, metronidazole, 15 mil BID, IV. Wait, is it Scarlet? Clipped off. Wait. I clipped it off before getting meds. Is somebody dropping it off up there? What's coming from up there? They may have done that when they switched the bag. Is it the new bag for me? No. Alright, who's making that noise? What's in the lobby? It's coming from the lobby. No, it's not. Where is that? It's not in here. What is that? What, phantom dollars? No! Look, he's coming from over here. Look in the front porch and make sure I didn't dump one or throw one in the pen outside or something. I didn't hear anything. You're not hearing that. Maria has heard it. I didn't hear it, no. You heard it, right? I heard it. I didn't hear it. You can't hear it coming from this side. You can't hear it at ISA though, right? No. Look at that fence out there and make sure somebody throw one in the fence. I heard nothing. I was like, what are y'all talking about? Yeah, that's a brand new thing. That's fucking bizarre. It is? Yeah. I haven't heard it. I still haven't heard it. All three of us heard it. And it was coming from that. It sounded like it was in that room or something. Like it sounded like it was like right through your board. We're going to play that back. I didn't even hear anything. Can you play it like specifically in those rooms or anything?
After reviewing the footage, Renee says there was no logical explanation for what they witnessed. And this wasn't an isolated event. Over time, strange activity became almost routine inside the clinic. Dog kennels securely latched would open on their own in the middle of the night. Office supplies and lightweight equipment were found scattered across rooms that had been locked. Staff members reported hearing scratching sounds coming from empty runs long after the last patient had gone home. Sometimes motion sensors would trigger in rooms where no animal was being treated. For a veterinary hospital, that detail hits differently. Because this isn't just any building, it's a place filled with heightened emotion, fear, grief, relief, heartbreak. It's where some families say goodbye to beloved pets, and many pet owners will tell you that after their animal passes, they still hear the faint scratch at the door, still feel the weight at the foot of the bed, still think they see a quick shadow dart past in the hallway. Some believe animals, especially loyal ones, linger, and that's the theory whispered among staff, that perhaps some of the dogs who passed away in that clinic never fully left, that the scratching isn't imagination, and that the kennel's opening isn't mechanical failure. So what do you think? Is it residual energy, emotional imprints replaying themselves, or something else using the setting to its advantage? Renee says she doesn't know what's in her clinic, but she's no longer convinced it's empty after closing time. The following video was captured by a group of ghost hunters who decided to explore an abandoned house after several reports suggested something dark was attached to the property. From the moment they stepped inside, they described the atmosphere as heavy, tense, and almost hostile. The kind of place where silence doesn't feel empty, but watchful. Believing the presence to be malevolent, they began praying, hoping to protect themselves and possibly force whatever was there to reveal itself. But according to many paranormal beliefs, prayer doesn't always bring peace. Some say it agitates negative entities, almost like shining a light on something that wants to stay hidden. Watch what happens next.
Bun.
Ești sigur?
Da. Hai, uite acum zic. Ia. Cred în bunul Dumnezeu, Tatăl Altotțiitorul, Făcătorul cerului și al pământului.
Oprește-te, oprește! Băi, Alin, uite alea cum fac bilile toate trei.
Știu unde am rămas.
Ea nu va pleca.
Da, știu când va pleca. Tatăl Altotțiitorului, Făcătorul cerului și al pământului, care pretutindeni ai și pe toate le împlinești, vistierul bunătăților și dătătorule de viață, vino și ne slăzășluiește întru noi și ne cu toată închinăciunea. Băi, nebunilor, băi!
Fai de capul meu!
Ce s-o spart? Nu s-o spart nimic. Cum să spargă ceva?
Frate, nimic nu.
Doamne ferește. Dar ce să spargă?
Hai de capul meu!
Dar nu se vede.
Mi-e frică, nu mai fă, frate, că murim!
Păi da, bine că s-o auzi spart, dar nu-i spart nimic. Deci vă asigur eu că nu-i spart nimic. Ce să fie spart?
Dau arda aici pe mâini, că nu e jali, măi.
Viewers believe this reaction suggests the presence felt threatened, not comforted by the prayers. Others argue that prayer can act as a form of confrontation, drawing attention from entities that feed on fear or resistance. Whatever the case, the timing is hard to ignore, but until we get more updates about this house, this remains unsolved. Now, in the following videos, a man and his family are convinced they're living with a ghost. In fact, they've gone as far as giving it a name, Ghost Malone, a playful nod to Post Malone, because according to them, the presence feels calm, relaxed, and non-threatening. They say things move around their house almost every night, especially toys, but insist it has never tried to hurt them. Still, many viewers can't help but ask the same question. How long does a spirit stay harmless? Take a look at what a typical night in their home looks like.
It's 3:30 in the morning. I swear on my life. For freaking toy cars. Oh, you have got to be kidding me. No. No, sir. No, ma'am. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know whether to wake Elizabeth or somebody call Justin Nunley or an exorcist. I mean, I'm not scared, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't shaking. So I'm just gonna leave it there till the morning for Elizabeth to come play with it. And it's not electronical, y'all. There ain't no damn motor in that thing. I feel so weird and out of place right now. I don't know if it's still there. To be truthful, I'm thinking about just leaving Elizabeth in Revelation and going somewhere for the night. I don't know what to do. Let's check on her. You still there? Pirates of the Caribbean's getting good. I'm not scared. I'm just kind of freaked out because, like, it's friendly. Hasn't thrown it.
What immediately stands out is the toy car. It has no batteries, no electrical components, and yet it moves on its own. Some viewers tried to brush it off as coincidence, uneven flooring, or leftover momentum, but those explanations quickly fall apart when you realize this isn't a one-time event, and it's not just one toy. Similar things have happened repeatedly, and after seeing this clip, many people weren't convinced that whatever was in the house was truly harmless. Some believe genuinely good spirits are rare, and when they do exist, they don't usually interact directly with the living. Concerned viewers suggested the father try certain cleansing methods to see how the presence would react, a way to test whether the entity was truly peaceful or simply pretending. So the next morning, he followed some of those suggestions. Watch what happened.
I actually fell asleep, and this is what I woke up to. Elizabeth. Baby. Hey.
Goodbye.
Okay, no, for real, like, so what are we doing? Oh. Okay. Are you... Somebody said salt. Hold on.
I don't know if you're supposed to draw a circle around it.
Well, it's a half circle, but I don't think you're supposed to do anything else. I don't know. Y'all got suggestions, let me know.
Instead of focusing on the fact that the holy water, salt, and prayers didn't seem to drive anything away, viewers noticed something far more disturbing. If you look closely at the doorway, you can see what appears to be a small, childlike figure standing completely still. That single detail sent chills through the comment section, but that raised another unsettling question. Why did the cleansing attempt seem to have little to no effect? Well, things escalated beyond toys. Watch this.
Are you there? Yeah, I thought so. Okay. Well, that's one of the things that I've discovered.
Whenever the house goes quiet, all he has to do is ask, "Are you there?" And something moves in response. At that point, many viewers said it could no longer be coincidence. But what troubled people even more was the interaction itself. A lot of paranormal believers warn that acknowledging a spirit gives it energy. Others say responding invites it closer, strengthens its presence, or even allows attachment. Despite all of that, the family continues living as normal, still convinced it isn't dangerous. One night, they didn't only check if it was there, they tried to communicate with it. Watch closely.
So we are all sitting here, enjoying our Taco Bell, right? And Ghost Malone was over there shaking the door a second ago. Ghost Malone, if you are still around, do something.
It was a sign.
Oh, okay. Okay. Nonchalant. Alright, so ironically, I'm watching Ghostbusters, right? Ghost Malone, Ghosty. Yo. Are you kidding? Alright, so I've been asking Ghost Malone some questions. Okay, so 1 time if you're there, 2 times, or I guess no times if you're not. Definitely there, okay. Are you friendly? Okay, okay. Do you like Ghostbusters? No? Okay, do you like movies? Okay, okay. Alright, just on Ghostbusters, I guess it's insulting. Are you here to cause harm? Okay. Okay. And I wish I knew Morse code. We'd try that. Are you an older spirit? Okay, but not a bad spirit. Okay. Is there more than one of you? Okay.
Many believe dark entities don't reveal their true nature immediately. Instead, they appear calm, friendly, even playful, a tactic often compared to the Annabelle doll, which was first believed to be harmless before far darker activity followed. Because of this, viewers are increasingly convinced that whatever this entity is, it may be growing stronger, not kinder. People urge the family to stop interacting, cleanse the home thoroughly, and protect themselves before things escalated further. But none of the things happening bothers them. Take a look.
So a couple weird things have happened tonight. Like my mom's painting over there has moved. And Ghosty. Ghost Malone. You there? Don't judge the trash. It's trash day. Ghosty. Okay. Maxie, what was that? Huh? So we're sitting here. Revelation here,
Hi, Maxie.
It should also be noted that we've had several offers from paranormal people to come here and whatnot. We're down, but there's been a few of them that are private profiles, minus the big ones you guys have suggested. Nobody's reached out, but I don't know. I might take offers for people to just come stay the night so you can see whether it's real or not for yourself. I don't know. But yeah, I am gonna take a list of questions. I've been writing down in the comments all the questions you guys have for Ghost Malone. And then we're going to do the Stranger Things light or dog button things to see if that does anything.
This time, even the dog reacts. As the playpen moves, the dog retreats into its cage, a response many believe animals only show when they sense something threatening. According to viewers, a presence strong enough to move objects, frighten a dog, and respond intelligently isn't something to take lightly. Some believe this entity was never harmless, just patient. But until the family shares more updates, all anyone can do is hope the situation doesn't turn dangerous. Now, in this next video, a guy who goes by the username Mosh moved to Appalachia, and according to him, he hasn't had a single peaceful moment since. Appalachia is one of those places people constantly warn you about. Dense forests, winding back roads, long stretches with no cell service, and generations of folklore that all seem to agree on one thing. If something calls out to you out there, you don't answer. Many believe the land itself holds onto things that don't like being disturbed. Mosh has been documenting his experiences both inside his home and outside, and in several of his earlier videos, paranormal investigators and longtime viewers suggested he might be dealing with what are often called jokester spirits, entities that don't immediately harm you, but thrive on fear, confusion, and reaction. They mimic sounds, footsteps, and voices just enough to make you question your sanity. One night, while walking, Mosh suddenly got the overwhelming feeling that something was following him. Not just a sound, but a presence, staying just out of sight. Trusting his instincts, he checked the camera he installed in the house and saw this. Watch. After reviewing the footage, many viewers say this explains a lot. The unexplained footsteps, the whispers he's heard when no one is around, and that constant sense of being watched. Some believe whatever this is has been testing boundaries, slowly revealing itself once it realized Mosh was paying attention. Others think it's feeding off his fear, waiting for the moment he reacts or responds. So, what do you see in this video? And more importantly, what do you think has been following him this whole time? The following video is shared by a man who had previously documented how everything in his apartment changed the moment he brought home a set of old toys. Almost immediately, the space felt different. Knocking sounds began echoing through the walls, objects shifted on their own, and at times the presence felt so overwhelming that he would lock himself in another room out of fear. But this next video unsettles viewers for a different reason. This time, none of the dolls or toys are visible anywhere in the apartment, and yet, the activity continues. Watch closely.
Son las 2 de la mañana, se están escuchando ruidos en la sala. Están moviendo la silla, raza. La madre. Escucho algo acá, raza. Tomaron el desodorante. ¿Qué estará pasando, anda? Madre.
Whatever is disturbing this apartment hasn't left with the objects themselves. Many believe spirits don't always stay attached to the item that brought them in. Some think the toys may have acted as a doorway, something that allowed an entity to anchor itself to the space rather than the objects. Others argue this could be residual energy, replaying moments of disturbance long after the source is removed. But there's also a darker theory, that removing the items only angered whatever was invited in. But what do you think? Now in this next clip, the popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian investigates the Mabel Tainter Memorial Theater, a location widely considered one of the most haunted places in Wisconsin. The theater was commissioned in 1889 by Captain Andrew Tainter and his wife Bertha in honor of their late daughter Mabel Tainter, who tragically died at just 19 years old. In life, Mabel was deeply passionate about music and the arts, and because of that, no expense was spared in the theater's design. From its grand architecture to its detailed interior, the building was meant to preserve her spirit and legacy. While exploring the theater late at night, Ian begins taking photographs inside the theater room when he suddenly hears a loud bang echo through the building. Tracing the noise, Ian follows it to an office once used by Reverend Henry Maxson. Watch closely.
That's his old chalkboard right there. And that is his handwriting. They've kept that preserved. That must have been from his last lecture before dying. Father, if you are indeed in here, could you tap on your chalkboard? Make a tapping sound like you're writing on it. I would be amazed if you did that. What the? That sounded like paper being moved. It was on this desk. Like, whoa, you see that? Dude, look at that. That has to be it. Look at that, it's literally hanging off of the table.
Maxson wasn't just any figure connected to this place. He was the Unitarian pastor who originally convinced Andrew and Bertha Tainter to build the memorial for Mabel. When the building officially opened in 1890, it served not only as a theater, but also as a community center and the permanent home of the Unitarian Society of Menomonee. Maxson himself gave the presentation address at the building's dedication, and for years, Sunday services were held directly on the theater's stage, with Maxson preaching to the congregation. Before leaving the office, Ian decides to set his camera down, leaving it recording as he steps away. What happens next is unsettling. Did Ian manage to capture the ghost of Reverend Henry Maxson still sitting at his desk, tied to the theater he once served? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video is about a family and the terrifying pace at which the strange activity inside their home has been escalating, turning what was once a normal living space into somewhere they no longer feel safe being alone. It all began one afternoon when the wife was home alone. Her husband had already left for work, and she had fallen asleep on a chair in the living room. She suddenly woke up coughing violently, her throat burning, and as she caught her breath, she noticed a smell filling the air. Thick, sour, and unmistakable. The smell of rotten eggs. At first, she assumed it was something ordinary, maybe spoiled food, a gas leak, or something left in the trash. She searched the kitchen, the drains, the trash bins. She cleaned thoroughly, top to bottom, but nothing explained it. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it vanished. Weeks passed and the smell returned, but this time it would appear without warning, linger for only a few minutes, then disappear again. No source and no explanation. But soon, the smell became the least of their fears. They would wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of loud, agonizing screams echoing through the house, screams that didn't belong to either of them. Religious crosses they had hung on their walls would slowly rotate and sometimes be found upside down by morning, something many believe is a deliberate sign of mockery or defiance towards symbols of protection. Other nights, someone would knock on the front door, slow and deliberate, but when they opened it, no one was there. And sometimes, multiple doors would slam violently at the same time, as if something unseen was moving freely through every room, like this.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
After that night, they were shaken enough to temporarily leave the house. They stayed away, trying to convince themselves it could be explained, but deep down, they knew something had changed. During that time away, the husband came to a disturbing realization. He remembered a visit he had made months earlier to an abandoned Catholic church, a place locals avoided. He recalled feeling uneasy while inside, hearing faint noises behind him, and feeling as if he wasn't alone. At the time, he dismissed it as imagination, but now, seeing what was happening in his home, he began to wonder if something had followed him back. But the next video he shared complicated that theory even further. For several nights, he began hearing faint music somewhere inside the house. After searching room after room, tearing the house apart trying to find the source, he finally discovered where it was coming from. Watch.
I don't know if it's exactly or this specific thing, but after playing with it, I did notice it, that it was this doll. So that doll that I have here on my 666 chair, right, has been making some weird sound. Now, what kind of sounds or who could have been provoking the doll, right? But if you listen to this, on the back of this doll, there's actually a latch, which is right there. So that latch there, if you spin it, it will make some sound. I will show you. So this doll here, if you take the outside rank right here, twist it, and I won't twist it too much, but look. And that is the same exact sound I was hearing. Now y'all, let me tell you something. I'm not sure what's activating this or what's causing it to sing, but tonight I will let this GoPro go live for the rest of the night. See what is provoking this to sing. The thing is that when I come out of my room right there, this thing stops singing.
The doll was the kind that only plays music when its latch is manually turned, so this raised a far more disturbing possibility. Some believe objects, especially dolls, can act as vessels. Unlike other objects, dolls resemble human forms, giving entities something easier to attach to, something easier to manipulate, but others believe something even darker may already be inside the house itself, something using the doll not as a home, but as a tool. So he set up cameras because he wanted proof. Watch. Some viewers believe the doll itself may now be the focal point, acting as a host for whatever entered the home. Others believe the activity started long before the doll, and whatever is in the house is simply using it to make its presence known in a way the family cannot ignore. And the fact that crosses are turning upside down only deepens the fear, because in many documented cases, entities believed to be malevolent will deliberately target religious symbols as a way of asserting dominance over the space and those living inside it. But until more footage is shared, this terrifying case remains unsolved. This next video was recorded by Nate, a man whose home has become the center of a long and deeply unsettling series of events that have only grown more aggressive over time. For months, Nate has documented objects moving on their own, utensils being thrown without warning, and disembodied whispers that seem to come from nowhere. His kitchen, in particular, has become the focal point of the activity, a place where things don't simply fall. They are thrown, as if something unseen is deliberately trying to make its presence known. Over time, viewers who have followed his story have watched the escalation. It began with small disturbances, soft taps, subtle movements, things easily dismissed. But soon, knives and scissors were thrown across the room, not dropped, not knocked over, but launched with force. The kind of force that suggests intention. One morning, his dog began acting restless, pacing, staring toward the kitchen, reacting to something Nate couldn't see. Moments later, a loud bang shattered the silence, and for someone who hadn't known peace in his home for months, his reaction wasn't finding a logical explanation, it was investigating.
Alright, so I just heard something. I don't know where it was coming from, either the basement or the kitchen. I'm not sure where, but it sounded like a bang or something. The dog is reacting to it, so not sure what that was. Is that the wall? I don't know what that was. What the fuck? Okay, those were there. Door's locked.
From the right side of the kitchen, something suddenly flies through the air. You can see the metal object clearly, reflecting light as it travels across the kitchen before crashing violently into the sink. What makes this moment especially disturbing is the fact that this isn't the first time. So, is whatever that's in the house only trying to scare him, or is it testing how far it can go? This time, it wasn't just the movement that unsettled viewers, it was the sound. Some people who turned their volume all the way up toward the end of the clip claim they heard a faint whisper, a single word, "Daddy." And then, on another Sunday morning, something even more disturbing was captured. Watch.
When you're sitting on a Sunday morning, having a cup of coffee, and you see all I can describe is a dark smoke or mist or cloud or something come up the basement stairs and move into the kitchen. Back door is locked. Both locks. It came up from the basement. Like right down there. Hello?
This time, whispers can be heard, but most people couldn't make out the exact words. Some listeners claim the first whisper says, "Why don't you like me?" followed later by, "Can't you hear me?" If true, those words change everything. And once again, it happens in the kitchen. This has led some viewers to speculate that whatever is present may be tied specifically to that location. Some believe it could be the spirit of someone connected to the house's past, possibly someone who once lived there, someone who felt ignored, abandoned, or unseen. Others believe it could be something far darker, something pretending to sound vulnerable in order to gain sympathy and attention. But I'll leave you to be the judge. Now, in this next clip, a man decides to record the terrifying things he experiences anytime he stays late at work alone. What makes his situation especially unsettling is the pattern he has noticed over time. According to him, the activity never happens during the day when the office is full, never when people are moving around or making noise. It only begins when everyone has left, when the building becomes quiet, empty, and still. Some nights he heard faint tapping sounds coming from inside the office itself, like fingers lightly drumming on wood, and over time he started to feel watched.
Kalau masuk, nggak usah main-main pintu. Tutup lagi nyamuknya. Ngapain? Ya Allah, makin iseng aja lah. Astagfirullahaladzim. Udah dulu yang bagus. Hey.
The door slowly creaks open on its own, then something even more disturbing appears. A face. Moments like this are especially disturbing because they suggest that whatever is causing this isn't somewhere far away, it's right there, inside the room, moving within his space. The following clip was captured by a lady's security camera. One morning, while going through her movement notifications from the night before, she noticed an alert triggered at a strange hour, a time when she was certain everyone in the house was asleep and nothing should have been moving. Curious, she opened the footage, and what she saw immediately gave her chills. Watch. A shadow slowly pops out by the door and doesn't fully reveal itself. It peeks carefully, like something was checking if the area was clear before stepping out. What makes this especially disturbing is the fact that she doesn't have any pets, nothing that could have created a shadow of that size or shape, and no one else had access to the house that night. Viewers later asked for more context, so she shared the full video. Watch. The first thing that came to some people's minds was a rat. But isn't it too big to be a rat? I'd leave you to be the judge on this one. This next video was sent in by a lady's cousin who had recently installed a motion detecting security camera in her basement, mainly as a precaution, never expecting it would capture something that would leave her questioning what might be inside her home when she isn't there. According to her, no one was at home at the time, nothing that should have triggered the alert. So when she received a motion notification coming from the basement, a place no one had entered that entire day, she immediately felt uneasy. Still, she opened the footage. Have a look. She believes the white object might be a dryer sheet, especially since the washer and dryer are positioned to the left of the frame. But what makes this difficult to explain is the fact that there is no draft down there. The basement windows are made of sealed glass cubes that cannot be opened, meaning there is no clear airflow that could push something that deliberately across the floor. But what truly terrified her wasn't just the movement, it was the sound. If you listen closely, faint footsteps can be heard, slow and heavy, followed by a low growling or rumbling noise. Something deep, something unnatural, something that doesn't sound like it belongs in an empty basement. And again, there was nobody home at the time. Some believe entities prefer lower levels of homes because they are quieter, more isolated, easier to occupy without being disturbed. Others believe growling sounds are especially concerning, often linked in paranormal reports to entities that are not passive, not harmless, but aware, territorial, and capable of interacting with their environment. So now, if no one was home, what exactly triggered the camera? Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the infamous Blackford County Jail, a location widely regarded as one of the most feared and talked about haunted buildings in the state of Indiana. This time, Ian decides to explore one of the most avoided parts of the building, the attic. According to local rumors and previous investigators, this attic is believed to be haunted by the spirit of a young girl, an entity said to appear unexpectedly and interact with objects left behind. So Ian brings along a few trigger objects, including a stuffed animal, hoping to encourage communication. Watch.
Here, that was hung from this. Whoa. Dude, I think I just saw an orb fly by that thing. If that was you, could you do that again? Were you hung here? Were you executed here? Dude. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Dude, that thing is swaying back and forth. I can't believe that. Dude, it's literally just started swaying back and forth. Dude, now it's slowing down. It stopped. Dude.
As he scans the attic, something unusual begins to happen. Near an old noose hanging from the ceiling, a faint orb appears, hovering close to it. At first it seems subtle, almost easy to miss, but then the noose itself begins to swing. Many paranormal investigators believe objects like nooses can carry heavy emotional residue, especially in places where suffering or death may have occurred, making them potential focal points for spiritual energy. But what happens next is even harder to explain. Watch.
I can't stay up here. I can't. I can barely see. My freaking flashlight's dying too. Alright. I've had enough. I'm sorry, little girl. Thank you.
From somewhere in the darkness, the stuffed animal he placed earlier is suddenly thrown to the floor. Unfortunately, he didn't capture the exact moment, but moments later, Ian captures something even more disturbing. Listen carefully. A faint giggle echoes from the darkness, and it sounds like a little girl giggling. It's often warned that childlike laughter in haunted locations may not always be what it seems, as some believe certain entities imitate children to appear harmless and lower a person's guard. Until more investigations reveal the truth, what Ian captured inside that attic remains one of the most chilling and unexplained moments inside the Blackford County Jail. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clip is about a family we've talked about on this channel before, and if you remember their story, then you already know things got pretty unsettling the first time around. Here's a quick rundown. It all began on random nights when their daughter would suddenly wake up crying, and while they were trying to calm her down, they'd hear someone knocking on their front door. It went on for several nights until the father finally decided to check. And the moment he opened that door, there was a figure standing right outside. After that encounter, the knocking stopped, but the house wasn't the same. Strange movements, electronics acting up, little things happening that didn't feel like coincidences. They prayed, they waited, and after a few months, the house finally settled. No knocking, no shadows, no disturbances. For a while, it seemed like whatever had shown up that night had moved on. But now, months later, the pattern seems to be starting all over again. Watch this.
Vente. Le están tocando.
Sí. La niña empezó a llorar.
Ya no haga mucho ruido para ver quién es. No prendas. ¿Cómo rápido? Está bien inquieta, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Ya son casi las 3 de la mañana. ¿Dónde están las llaves? Hoy. No se ve. Voy a abrirlo. Ahí quédate, espérame. No hay nadie. No hay nadie. No, uy, otra vez. Sin menos. ¿Quién será? No es nadie, Ceci. Yo creo que ya nos subimos a dormir. Ya. Vámonos. Vámonos porque igual le voy a enseñar la hora. Siempre pasa lo mismo. Miren. Son casi las 3 de la mañana. 25. Siempre hace lo mismo, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Ya vamos a... Voy a cerrar otra vez.
This time, they knew better than to open the door. They didn't want to repeat the same mistake, but one night, while his wife was trying to put their baby girl to sleep, the house security camera picked up something they never expected to see. Watch this.
Sí, mira, quiero que observes bien este video y me digas qué te parece. Puede ser cualquier cosa, pudo ser una persona, pero realmente con seguridad no te sé qué decir. Observa los movimientos de mi hija de 4 meses, cómo ya está casi dormida y ahorita en un ratito como que se altera. El video no tiene audio, así que por eso se lo estoy relatando. Vean ahí cómo se alteró mi hija y ve directamente hacia el portón. Miren, ahí está observando, ahí se asomó algo. Vean eso. Vean lo extraño que el color de piel que tiene eso, vean. Y mi hija ahí está alterada y si se dan cuenta, no deja de mirar hacia el portón. Vean, mi hija está mirándolo. Ahí se volteó y eso se desvaneció. Bastante extraño.
If you take a good look at the footage, the little girl is completely calm at first, just resting, until something shifts. Out of nowhere, she gets upset and she starts crying, like she's reacting to something we can't see. And if you look at the door, a faint figure seems to be peeking inside. The father said he couldn't place the shape at all, and what made it worse is that he never saw anything walk away. 1 second the figure was there, and the next, it wasn't. No footsteps, no movement, no shadows trailing off. Just there, then gone. And with everything they've experienced before, people began to wonder if this was the same presence that stood outside their door months ago, or if something completely new had entered the picture. Then, around 2 a.m., their daughter started crying again. But this time, it wasn't the knocking, it was something far worse. Proof that whatever they'd been dealing with wasn't outside anymore. It was inside the house. Have a look.
No digas mamadas. No. ¿Qué dijo? ¿Eh? ¿Qué dijo? No mames, güey. Se me va a apagar. Está hablando. No, güey. No, la verga. No mames, no chingues. Se puso feo. Raza. Se puso feo, les dije. No mames, güey.
It didn't take long before the knocking returned too, and when it came back, it wasn't random or occasional anymore. It happened every single night, like something determined, something trying to wear them down. Imagine living with that, knowing it's coming, knowing you can't stop it, and counting down the seconds until it starts again. Eventually, even though he knew exactly what happened the last time, he started opening doors, but only the doors inside. And what happened next felt like going from bad to something much worse, almost like stepping out of the frying pan and straight into the fire. Watch.
No sé si se escuche. Oigan, como si estuvieran en la parte de enfrente. No mames. Son las 2 de la mañana. Uy, cabrón. Voy a buscar las llaves. No mames, está acá enfrente, ¿eh? Uy, uy. Okay, como... No mames. Ah, cabrón. No mames, cabrón.
The activities in the house escalated after that night, but this time the knocking didn't stop. And you know what they say. When the knocking refuses to end, it usually means whatever is outside isn't trying to leave. It's trying to come in. And in situations like this, people believe persistent knocking is a sign that the presence has grown stronger, more intentional, almost desperate for access. It got so bad that it began waking the entire family every single night. At this point, they started to believe that not opening the main door wasn't protecting them from anything, because strange things were still happening inside the house even on nights they kept the door shut. But at least if they open it, the knocking would stop for a few hours, just enough peace to reach the morning. So reluctantly, they fell into a routine. Every time the knocking returned, the father would open the door just to make it stop, until one night he walked toward the entrance expecting the same pattern, but instead saw something deeply unsettling. Watch this.
Johnny, están tocando.
¿Ah?
Están tocando.
¿Quién es?
Nadie, realmente.
¿Están tocando?
Sí.
Ah, sí, no manches.
Escucha.
Otra vez, güey, a ver. Dame, a ver, aguanta. Espérame aquí, aguántame.
Sí.
Otra vez. Son las 3 de la mañana, gente. Son casi las 3 de la mañana. ¿Qué quieres? ¿Qué es lo que quieres? Deja de molestar. Quiero que te largues. ¿Qué es eso? Oh, no manches. Oh, no manches. Ceci.
This wasn't a neighbor, this wasn't a prank. What he saw looked dark and full of intent, the kind of thing that doesn't accidentally show up at your door. And when you connect this moment to everything else, the figure peeking inside the house, the child crying at unseen things, the sudden electronic malfunctions, the rocking chair moving on its own, the doll moving, it all begins to feel like one presence that finally revealed its true form. Now the family is actively seeking help from anyone who can make sense of all this. But while they search for answers, the knocking hasn't stopped. They still open the door sometimes, but now with extreme caution, because they never know what might be standing there.
Mira. Y el chiquito no.
Mira, no mames.
¡Vámonos de esta casa! Ya, yo voy grabando.
Tranquila. ¿Quién anda ahí?
To make matters worse, the electricity in the house hasn't been the same since the night they saw that strange figure. Lights flicker, appliances glitch, and even their older kid is getting tired of living in a place that feels more haunted with every passing night. In the next clip they posted, things took a turn none of them were prepared for. What used to happen strictly at night, the knocking, the footsteps, the strange movements, suddenly began happening in broad daylight. Objects would shift from one spot to another, heavy thudding footsteps, as if someone unseen was walking up the stairs, and random items in the house kept going missing only to reappear in odd places. Then one afternoon, the father captured something on camera that left both viewers and investigators genuinely alarmed. Watch this.
¿Estás escuchando?
Sí.
Vente. Son las 2 de la tarde, se está manifestando algo. Tengo que decir que no hay nadie. Estoy completamente solo. No manches. Se acaba de abrir la puerta del cuarto. Este cuarto, pues nadie lo habita. Estoy solamente con mi hijo de 8 años. Vente, Neto, no te quedes. Se vio claramente cómo se abrió la puerta sola y no hay ni viento. De hecho, está cerrada la ventana, todo está cerrado. No, vámonos.
Even with every window shut and all doors locked, one door slowly opened on its own, like someone on the inside had gently pushed it. Many believe this was a sign the presence inside the home has grown comfortable, too comfortable, almost as if it no longer cares to hide its movements. Others think letting it in that very first night might have given it access it never should have had, and now it's roaming the entire house freely, crossing boundaries it once respected. And things have only gotten worse night after night. The family is so desperate that viewers have sent their clips to paranormal experts, hoping someone can offer answers or at least a solution to stop the constant fear they're living in. But while they wait for help, every day and every night brings a new disturbance. One night, it sounded like someone was in the kitchen, loud enough that the husband thought an intruder might have broken in. But when he went to check, this is what he found.
Oye, voy a ir a bajar,
Sí, a ver, ve a checar qué es.
Voy a ver, ahí quédate con la niña.
Sí.
Hasta se despertó, ¿va?
Sí.
No hay nadie. Por lo regular siempre se escucha como si hubiera alguien ahí en la cocina. Se escuchaba que estaban jugando con los trastes, como si estuvieran botando cosas, así bastante fuerte. Lo primero que pensé es que se habían metido a la casa. Mierda. ¿Qué hacen esos sartenes botados? Mira. Empieza a sentir un escalofrío en esta parte bastante fuerte. Voy a levantar esto. Miren cómo estaba colgado esto. Ay. ¿Qué es lo que quieres? Lárgate de aquí. ¿Por qué nos molestas? Oh, madre de Dios.
Lárgate de aquí. No mames. Hey, la sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Sea lo que sea, no perteneces aquí. Lárgate. Necesitamos ayuda, por favor. Esto se está saliendo de control, amigos. ¿Qué es eso?
Pans scattered all across the floor, and before he could even finish placing them back, something else happened. Sudden, sharp, and terrifying. Almost like the presence wanted to make sure he knew he wasn't alone in that kitchen. At this point, whatever is haunting this home is no longer subtle, no longer shy, no longer hiding in the shadows. It's active, bold, and possibly growing stronger. And before this turns into something violent, the family is pleading for help, hoping someone can intervene before things get even worse. Now, in this next clip, the popular ghost hunter Ian went deep into the Minnesota woods, and on this particular night, he was making his way toward an isolated cemetery rumored to be one of the most haunted places in the entire region. He was completely alone out there, and even he admitted that he was starting to freak out.
Okay. I'm coming towards you, whoever you are. I hear somebody walking up and down this trail. Could you walk towards me? Oh my God! Holy shit! Oh my God! I'm sorry. You almost gave me a heart attack. I know I asked you to do that, but damn! Holy moly, I didn't think you were gonna actually do it.
Vicksburg Cemetery sat hidden in the wilderness, untouched, overgrown, and swallowed by trees. Local legend claimed that one gravestone in particular would glow at night, and that every spring it sprouted fresh flowers that dripped what looked like blood. It was the kind of place that felt unsettling even in daylight. And yet, because it was Ian, he chose to spend the entire night there anyway. The place had the kind of heavy stillness you'd expect from a cemetery buried deep in the woods, but as he walked around with his flashlight sweeping through the darkness, he saw something that stopped him. One entire grave had been left in total shambles. Stone cracked apart, soil disturbed, like something had forced its way out or clawed its way in. And in typical Ian fashion, instead of backing away, he tried communicating with whatever spirit might still be lingering there.
Gosh. This whole grave is in shambles. I'm sorry that your tombstone has been destroyed. What happened? Is it vandalized? Whoa. Okay, I just heard you.
At this moment, a woman's whisper intelligently responds to my question.
In my left hand, I have a green light. It won't harm you in any way. All it will simply do is detect your presence. If you're still here, could you tell me your name? Because unfortunately, there's really no way for me to tell. I really don't want to dig around your grave shambles, because I don't want to damage it any further. You don't have to be shy, ma'am. As I said, I'm just here to visit. I'm here with nothing but respect. I'm getting eaten up by mosquitoes right now, but that's okay. It's worth it. If I could just hear your voice one more time. Whoa. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I heard that. I heard you once again. Whoa, you just drained my battery too. Dang, dude. All right. I'm gonna review this when I get home, and I'll know your message.
Later, after reviewing his footage, he realized that the voice captured on camera sounded like it was saying the word foreign. That one detail bothered him enough to dig deeper, and when he researched the grave, he found out it belonged to a woman named Vesta Black Davis. buried alone with no family members anywhere near her. A sad and lonely revelation, but it raised an even darker question. If no one visited her and no one cared for the site, then why was her grave the only one shattered? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clip was recorded by a team of paranormal investigators who decided to livestream their exploration of an abandoned house, allowing viewers to witness in real time what they described as one of the most aggressive environments they had ever entered. A place where silence never truly felt empty and every step seemed to disturb something that did not want to be found. Almost immediately after entering, the atmosphere inside the house felt heavy and unwelcoming. The kind of oppressive stillness investigators often associate with locations that have been abandoned for long periods. Places where memories, trauma, and emotional energy are believed to linger without interruption, slowly shaping the environment into something far more hostile over time.
Aoleu, a spart bateria. Băi, bă, rămas bateria acolo, băi. Nu mai cânta, băi, nu mai cânta, băi, omule, băi. Băi, oprește-te, băi. Bă, oprește, băi, că s-o dișălat bateria aici, am cațaș. Fugi. Fugi. Dă-i tare. Dai, măi, oleacă. Uite ce am făcut aici. Are pe bune. O început cânta Ionuț acolo în cameră, de rămas dulapul de tot.
Doamne Iisuse Hristoase, Dumnezeu nostru, Cel ce a făcut marea și toate cerele.
Aoleu, a spart bateria. Băi.
Objects inside the house suddenly begin scattering violently, shifting and falling with force in a way that makes it clear this is not the result of simple structural instability or natural movement, but something deliberate, something reacting to their presence as if disturbed by the intrusion. Many paranormal researchers believe abandoned buildings become ideal environments for darker entities, especially because they remain undisturbed for years, allowing whatever presence exists there to grow stronger without resistance, feeding off isolation, decay, and the absence of human activity until the moment someone enters and disrupts that balance. But this was not the only time they captured something disturbing. During another live stream at a completely different abandoned house, the investigators experienced something that left both them and their viewers shaken. Watch.
Da cu casetofonul ăsta mini, da cu dulapul mini. Oricare spirit ai aflat aici, oricare... Ce-a fost asta? Ce-a fost asta? S-a disfăcut sertarul în cap.
Ferească-mă Dumnezeu, dacă nu mai citesc o dată.
Fai de cap, mă, dacă nu nebunesc. Uitați, uite spiritul cum trece pe aici, uite, uite. Da cu dulapul mini. Îți ordon, oricare spirit ai aflat, oricare e implicat.
Ce-i zis așa, măi?
Nu, am stricat tot, gata.
De ce ai zis să-i nu trebuia să zici?
Vai de capul,
o rup priză, o rup tot.
Pleacă, gata.
Ți-am zis să nu zici. Ai zis să dea cu dulapul în tine, de ce ai zis?
Fai de capul meu.
Nu trebuia să zici.
În fața mea, Ionuț.
Hai de mine, nu trebuia să zici. Nu trebuia să cânt nicio aia.
Pardon, oricare spirit te afla, oricare...
Ăsta pe bunii de mult, pe bunii de la mare.
Da, Ionuț.
Nu-ți dea aminte de ei. Și cu ochii, și căcatul ăștia.
Da, tu cu moliftele tale, cu astea.
Nu, că e de la molift.
Nu e de la molift.
Ai zis tu.
Am zis eu.
First, some viewers tried to dismiss what appeared on camera as nothing more than dust particles or light reflecting off debris in the air, but that explanation quickly becomes difficult to accept when you notice the timing. The formation appears almost immediately after one of the investigators directly asks if any spirits are present, as if responding to the question itself. And then, only moments later, the shelf suddenly comes crashing down with force, violently collapsing in a way that suggests something far stronger than coincidence. Whatever was inside that house was strong enough to disrupt the environment, strong enough to respond, and strong enough to make it clear that it did not want them there. And encounters like this are exactly why investigators warn that some abandoned places are not empty at all. They are occupied. We can only hope that whatever was strong enough to cause that level of destruction never follows anyone home. This next video was captured by a woman's CCTV camera, and when she reviewed the footage later that morning, she noticed something that immediately made her stop and replay the moment over and over again, because what appeared on the screen didn't resemble anything she could explain through normal means. Watch.
Alright, you guys, this happened. So much shit happened yesterday, it's not even funny. On the 17th yesterday at 6:55 a.m., look at the car cruising by slowly, but that's not it, y'all. Let me know if I'm tripping, y'all. Let me know. At 6:55. Now, hold on, y'all. 3 minutes later. Let's get to it. Here he comes. Hold on. Let me show y'all the time. So, y'all, 3 minutes later. After this car. Come on, man. Talk to me. Hold on, y'all. Watch it. No. Let's play it back one more time. Y'all played this video over and over and over again because I was like, hold on, is it a headlamp? Watch. That's his eyes, y'all. Man, let's do it again. This is the part right here. Hold on. No, did you see how it went? Y'all, I can't do it, man. I can't. Where you at? Watch how it goes. It already did it. Y'all, did you see how it's going inside of his face, though? Like, a headlamp. No, that part right there. Hold on. I went live. Watch this light. I went live a few hours later. This is yesterday, too, about 7:30. Look at that. For those of you who was on my live. As long as you receive my love and you give back love, I love you. Oh! And you can hear the click, y'all. And you can hear the click. But as long as you receive my love and you give back love, I love you. Oh! So what was that? What was that flashlight? Now, this last video, I'm going to have to upload it by itself because y'all need to hear the sound. This was also the 17th. This was at 10:30, about 10:30 p.m., same day.
At first glance, it's easy to assume the light could be coming from a headlamp or perhaps some kind of reflection from a passing vehicle, but that explanation quickly falls apart the moment you focus on the details. The light is positioned directly where the eyes would be, and doesn't behave like light reflecting. After this, she began noticing other strange changes around her property. Her motion alerts became more frequent, even on nights when there were no animals, no people, and no environmental triggers that could explain the activity. Sometimes the cameras would activate repeatedly within minutes of each other, as if something was pacing just outside her home, staying close but never fully revealing itself. Another night, she captured something even stranger, this time on her phone. Watch.
I saw you. The two glowing eyes right there. In between the two trees. Right there. It just did something. What is that? Oh, y'all see it. Y'all see it. Oh, shit. Oh, oh, oh. 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 Oh, shit. Oh, it's a light beam. It's a light beam. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Y'all see it? You guys. It's too much. It's a lot just happened. Like, I'm waiting for my son. That was the ET I saw behind. Y'all, I seen it right here through the rearview mirror. The side mirror. I caught it, like the last part of it going by. And I'm trying to see which side did it go to.
In the footage, what appears to be a concentrated mass of light briefly forms and moves in a way that feels controlled rather than random, which has led many viewers to speculate that it could be what paranormal researchers sometimes describe as an energy manifestation, a form entities are believed to take when they do not have enough strength to fully appear as a solid figure. These manifestations are often described as existing somewhere between visible and invisible, appearing as glowing forms, flickers, or silhouettes made of light rather than matter. Some believe these forms are used to observe, to move quietly without being fully seen, especially in the early stages of a haunting when whatever is present has not yet fully anchored itself to the location. But the situation became even more unsettling when her CCTV camera captured something else. Listen closely. Heavy footsteps can be heard moving through the area, accompanied by raspy, unnatural sounds that don't resemble speech, breathing, or any known animal. For weeks now, she says it feels like something has been watching her. Her cameras activate almost every night, and the activity always happens in patterns, never random, as if whatever it is knows exactly where she is and when she is most vulnerable. Also, she's been having nightmares, but there's one in particular that left her deeply shaken. She describes dreaming about Egypt, about standing alone while what looked like an army of dark figures rushed toward her. She remembers waking up not in her bed, but in her driveway, disoriented, with no memory of how she got there. Since then, she has also reported hearing tapping on her walls at night, faint at first, but persistent, sometimes moving from one side of the house to another, as if something is trying to find a way in. Some believe the activity may have first attached itself to the location outside, possibly drawn to the property or passing through the area, and that by reviewing the footage repeatedly, focusing on it, and giving it attention, she may have unknowingly encouraged it to come closer. Attention is often described as a form of invitation, acknowledgement that can strengthen a presence and allow it to transition from being something that lingers outside to something that begins to enter. Whether this is a series of camera anomalies, sleep disturbances influencing perception, or something far more sinister slowly closing in, for now, it remains a mystery. The following video comes from another haunted home, this one owned by a woman named Lauren, who says the activity inside her house has been escalating steadily over time, shifting from small, dismissible moments to patterns that feel intentional, calculated, and increasingly difficult to ignore. Before this particular night, Lauren had already documented multiple unsettling incidents. She discovered footprints appearing on her floors that didn't match the size or shape of anyone living in the house, some smaller than an adult's, others oddly shaped, as if the impression was incomplete, like something tried to step into the physical world but didn't fully succeed. She has also described repeatedly seeing figures move at the edge of her vision, never directly in front of her, always just beyond clear sight, forcing her to question whether she imagined it, until it kept happening. There have been voices too, faint at first, almost blending into background noise, but clear enough that she knew they weren't coming from outside. Voices heard while she was completely alone. She has also watched objects shift subtly from where she left them, Doors creak open after being firmly closed, and small items fall without any visible cause. Individually, each of these events could be explained away, but together, they form something far more disturbing. One night, just as Lauren was about to go to bed, she heard noises again, and instead of ignoring it, she reached for her phone and began recording. Watch.
Having to go upstairs and check something because I just heard a noise. Did you hear that? Okay. Okay. It's time to go back. Thought I heard something. I don't know. Oh, what was that? What was that? Okay.
If you listen closely, you can hear what sounds like children playing, and the unsettling part is that there are no children there. Childlike voices are sometimes associated with what investigators call mimic entities, presences that imitate innocence to appear less threatening, slowly building comfort before escalating activity. Others believe residual hauntings can replay fragments of past life, like recordings embedded into the structure of a house, looping moments that once happened there. But the activity Lauren describes doesn't feel residual. So for now, Lauren continues to document everything, hoping to eventually understand what's sharing her home with her. Until then, this chilling case remains unexplained.